Welcome to another Enphase API training video. In this video, we will discuss available data endpoints that are used with the Enphase API so that users can easily access details of an Enphase solar installation. Before being able to generate an access token, users must already have created an Enphase API account. Users must also have a completed application for their data and also possess a client ID and client secret. Please see the description of this video for links to the associated videos to learn about creating an Enphase API account and more. Access and refresh tokens are programming commands used in API that play a vital role in the processes of authentication and authorization. Access tokens provide temporary access to resources, while refresh tokens enable clients to acquire new access tokens without the need for the user to re-authenticate. Let's take a moment to discuss access tokens. There are 4 categories that easily break down the details of the access tokens. The first category would be purpose. Access tokens are short-lived credentials that allow a user or client application to access protected resources. The second category would be usage. Access tokens are typically included in the request headers when making API calls to access resources. The third category is expiration. Access tokens have a short lifespan, meaning they expire after a certain period. And the fourth category is security. This short lifespan enhances security, as compromised access tokens are only valid for a limited time. In this section, we will discuss the 4 categories of refresh tokens. These categories are under the same headings as access tokens, but here we will explain the categories as they apply to the refresh token. The first category is purpose. Refresh tokens are long-lived credentials that are used to obtain new access tokens when the current access token has expired. The second category is usage. Refresh tokens are just as they sound. Refresh tokens are used to refresh the access token. This allows the user to remain authenticated without having to re-enter their credentials. The third category is expiration. Refresh tokens have a longer lifespan than access tokens. In the next section, it will be shown how the user can verify the token's expiration timeline. The fourth and final category is security. While refresh tokens are long-lived, they should be stored securely. A compromised refresh token could allow an attacker to access resources indefinitely. If an access token expires, a new access token can be generated using the client ID, client secret, along with a refresh token. To generate a new token, you will send a post request to api.enphaseenergy.com/oauth/token. Using the specific parameters listed below, the grant type will be refresh token. This generated refresh token will be your current refresh token. Along with this, you will need to include the client ID and client secret. Once submitted, the response will include a new access token and refresh token. It is important that the user takes note of the token's expiration. The expires in field indicates the number of seconds until the access token expires. The user will need to ensure that the application takes into account the token expiration and that they refresh the access tokens as needed. Additionally, the client ID and client secret of your application must be sent in the basic authorization header in the base64 encoded format. This method will work for both the developer and homeowner plans, as well as the installer plans. Here are a few examples of what the request may look like in your software. On the screen, we can see that the post request has been sent with the query parameters mentioned previously. In addition, we can also see the response, which includes several different parameters. In the next section, we will look at what those different response parameters mean. The following are the response parameters that may occur in your API code when attempting to generate a new access token. As mentioned previously, the expires in response indicates the number of seconds until the access token expires. In this case, 86,399 seconds, or just under 24 hours. This is used in API to indicate how long the access token would be valid before it would need to be refreshed. Scope refers to the permissions granted to the access token. Here it includes read and write permissions. In API, it is used to define what actions the token can perform, whether these actions be reading data or writing data. The ENLU ID is the unique identifier for the enlightened user. It is used to identify the user associated with the API request. Similarly, the ENLC ID is the customer ID that is associated with the Enlighten account. This resource identifies the customer within the Enlighten system. ENL password last changed is the Unix timestamp indicating the last time the user's password was changed. For security purposes, it is useful to assist in tracking when the password was last updated. The IS internal app will display the Boolean value. This indicates whether the application is an internal or external app. Next is app type. App type identifies the type of application being used. It is used to specify the category of the application, such as a partner or a developer, etc. The app ID is the unique identifier for the application and is used to identify the specific application making the API request. Finally, we have JTI. JTI is the unique identifier for the token. For example, JWTID. JWTID is used to uniquely identify the token and prevent replay attacks. Thank you for watching another informative API training video provided by the Enphase training team.